Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Matilda, the Tier 4 British medium tank. It's located on the north spawn of Erlenberg, and this one is under the command of Andromeda, and this is a replay from over 2 years ago. Yes, it's been sitting in my pile to be done. I've just done 2 replays which you probably saw, where Andromeda was on the Empire's border map and then on Airfield. Well, this is the first one of this video, and he's actually on Erlenberg. I think he uses the Matilda just like I do for a bit of fun, really. It's a bit of unwinding relaxation because, of course, you can just blink away at the enemy at high speed and just enjoy yourself. They manufactured 2,987 of these by August of 1943. You can either have the 3-inch howitzer or a 2-pounder gun as the main armament. The 2-pounder obviously is the 14mm gun with a squeeze bore attachment. It's capable of squeezing the round to 13mm but increasing its velocity. Its muzzle velocity goes up from 800 meters per second to 1300 meters per second. Because the metal is being squeezed around a preformed composite core, which is incredibly strong, a tungsten carbide core, and that makes the shell devastating because it's capable of actually going into enemy vehicles and just slicing its way through the armor. And although 30mm isn't a lot, it's only 3 centimeters, it's enough to do enough damage to eventually, if you get enough holes, one of those holes is going to intersect with a human being, and that's the end of that person's life, because it will be pretty devastating for them. Well, he's just decided to bulldoze his way through the enemy, and now he's attacking a T-29, the Soviet premium medium that Wargaming gave out to everyone as a freebie on their birthday a long while ago. In fact, we've got another birthday now at the moment. In fact, when this game took place, they were actually having their 10th birthday celebrations. Okay, he's now decided to have a go at the Stugdrei Ausrunde, but he's actually driving back out and showing his weak spot every time he does, because it's the engine bay on the Matilda which is the weak area. That corrugated area around the engine bay, that's the weak armor. So you don't normally want to show that to the enemy if you can help it. And in fact, actually, M3 Stuart's got behind him and was actually penetrating him. There you can see, even with his little pop gun, he was able to get a few rounds in, but now he's being torn to shreds. Every round is punching through the armor, and the little M3 dies. So 3 kills now for Andromeda, and he's taking on a Hetzer across the river. He's auto-aimed on. You should be manually aiming, actually. It's a lot more efficient. Shoot through the windows there. Oh, and now he's got a BT-5 behind him, shooting into his rear. And he's actually been tracked, so he can't back up. So he's just going to have to traverse his turret and take this guy down. One more shot to take down the BT-5. There you go. So that's 4 kills now. He still hasn't dealt with that Hetzer, but I don't think he'll have to worry about it because I'm sure his teammates will have a go. In the meantime, he's going after a 14 TP, which of course is a Polish Tier 4 tank. Go for the ram. Yep, this, of course, this is a very heavy medium tank, 30 tons in weight. So little light tanks, which are only 14 tons in weight, just won't survive. And that's why it's a good idea to ram. This tank is much more like a heavy tank than it is a medium in many ways. It's a walking tank, it's an infantry tank. It's designed to move at the same speed as the infantry so they can keep up with it, and then the infantry can deal with any anti-tank guns whilst the tank itself deals with other tanks and of course emplacements. The Bison's gone. He's got 5 kills now. There's only 2 enemies left. One of those is an AMX-38 who's AFK. and he'll just literally tear this guy to shreds. If he gets him, he will get a... Oh, he didn't get him. And that means now the last enemy is a Panzer S-35. Where is he? He's over the river, I think. In fact, now he's firing at us, so that's useful. We know where he is from his fire. And now we just need to finish him off to pick up a Top Gun. Keep going. He did get one hit the tracks, but he's tearing the guy to shreds. This is the problem with auto-aiming. You see, he auto-aimed on, but he lost the lock. And when he lost the lock, he lost the aim. Because and it's all over. It's too late. The T-56 gets the kill. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for Andromeda in the Matilda. In fact, it wasn't just any ace tanker, that was his first ace tanker in the Matilda. I must have got these replays the wrong way round, and yes, unfortunately, it must have been the Empire Border replay and the Airfield replay were actually after this one. But yes, this was the first ace tanker he managed to get. It's not the last, he's actually had quite a few since. He got a fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. A fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He did get 4. He got 5 actually, just one short of getting a Top Gun. He got shell proof for blocking more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. A duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him. A hand of God for surviving the battle and received damage from at least 4 enemy tanks or more. In fact, actually, he did receive fire from a lot of enemy tanks in that game because he was assaulting the enemy in their face. As well, he's got a Bruiser medal as well for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 10. He got a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, and he got a steel wall for blocking the most damage in the game. And his win rate on this game was higher than on the Empire Border game. He only got 14,000 win rate on that one. He got 20,730 win rate from this game. That's a very high score indeed. And I put that down to the fact that he was so aggressive. He really did get in the enemy's face and punch holes in them as much as he could, and he was enjoying himself, I'm sure of that. Let's have a look at team score. Highest damage, 2,693 hit points, very, very high score compared to the others. The next highest scorer being the Bison on the enemy team, or Bison I should say. He got 1,122, and the third highest damage was the M1542 on Andromeda's team. He got a Confederate and 1,106 hit points. When it came to kills, it was actually the Panzer 38 who got 7 kills in that game. So he was one short of getting 8, but he wouldn't have got a Radley Walters because he's not, in fact, I'm not sure. No, he's not tier 5. So therefore he cannot claim a Radley Walters, but he certainly claimed enough to get a Top Gun, and yes, he did pick it up as well as an Onyx medal. 5 kills went to Andromeda. The next highest was the Largo on his own team with 2 kills, and the Hetzer on the enemy team was the only player who managed to get more than 1 kill. In fact, only 6 players, was it 6 players? No, it's only 5 players on the enemy team actually managed to get a kill at all in that game. The Hetzer being the one who got most. The Matilda on the enemy team got a cool-headed, he got 1. And you can see here the Bison got 1, the S-35 and the M3 Stuart, and they were probably the most aggressive players on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, Andromeda got the top on that with 1,215. He's the only one to get over 1,000. The next highest being the Acton ICT, who managed to get 700, and 556 went to the M1542, who also picked up a Confederate in that game. The T-56 GMC got a cool-headed. If he'd left that Panzer S-35 to Andromeda, if Andromeda managed to manually aim instead of auto-aiming on that S-35, he probably would have got that last kill, and that would have given him the Top Gun. He fired 67 rounds of 2-pounder ammunition in that game, got 54 direct hits on the enemy, and 49 penetrations. Damage of 2,693 hit points, of which 116 were at more than 300 meters. 26 hits received from the enemy, 7 of those penetrated, 18 non-penetrations, and 1 hit by way of splash as well. 859 hit points of damage blocked by armor. He spotted 6 enemy vehicles, damaged 10 of the enemy, killed 5, and did 625 hit points of spotting assist, and he actually managed to get 5 capture points while he was in the cap. He earned 47,606 credits on a premium account, got 60,000 for completing a mission, 107,606 credits altogether, but because he fired so much APCR in that game, he actually ended up with a small loss of 1,118 credits. It's a tiny loss, but then when you consider he did get a mission completion of 60,000, he burned all those credits up using the APCR. He picked up 2 bonds and 1,822 XP times 2 for the first victory, 3,645 experience points altogether. Yeah, he's saying 3 medals. Actually, it's 2, but that's not a medal. That's a classification. That's the rank or category of the tanker that you actually managed to achieve. You were better than 99% of all the other players on that occasion, and he continues to do it. He continues to get ace tankers because he enjoys this tank and he's very good at it. The only thing is that it really does, as I said during the battle, he needs to watch out, because if you stick that rear out, the enemy will put holes into it because it is a weak spot on the Matilda. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the armor profile for this vehicle. Here's the armor profile of the Matilda, and you can see all that red shows it's very, very strong metal indeed. 75mm on the front of the turret, which is actually giving you, with some of the angling of the metal, as much as 93 all the way up to over 100, 135 there. The upper plate of the vehicle is 75mm thick. At the front of the vehicle, it's 75 impacted armor, but it's actually effective 87. You can see it's got a kind of stepped up arrangement. The driver's directly behind this area here, and the driver's port there. The viewport is actually one of the weak spots. So a tiny weak spot there where it's 0 armor, where you're actually looking through the viewport. But trying to hit it and penetrate it, unless you're using thick enough shells, APCR, you probably won't get through. Certainly most tanks have a lot of trouble trying to penetrate this tank from the front. The sides are a little easier to penetrate, only 40mm thick there. You can see along the sides here, it's 70mm on the shoulders there. The weak spot, of course, is that engine deck. It's 20mm thick there, 20mm there, and at the rear it's 55mm. So it is easy to penetrate a Matilda if you can get behind it. It's just like on the Valentine tank. The engine deck is the weak spot. Even the cupola on a Matilda is strong because it's 75mm, and because it's slab-sided, that's what you're actually getting. If you show this vehicle with the HE round, if I show that there, if we go to the 3-inch gun, HE, okay, and then we look at the live model, you can see it's just nothing but red. Very solid, very impenetrable almost from the front, but it can be penetrated from the rear. You can see those green areas where you can penetrate this tank. So don't try and attack a Matilda with rounds from the front if you cannot get through it straight away. If you have to use APCR, do, but if you can't penetrate it from the front, try and get behind it and shoot into that engine deck, and then you might get through. We look at the modules. You see the driver sitting up front all in his own, right in the center. The gunner's on the right-hand side of the turret as we're looking at it, with the tank commander directly behind in that cupola. The loader is on the left-hand side of the turret as we're looking at it. Now, his job is just basically to pick up those shells and shovel them into the breach as quickly as possible. The moment the shell goes into the breach, it closes the breach automatically, and that will then allow the gunner to fire. And if the gunner's ready and tuned in with the loader, it's just down, the rate of fire is just down to the loader, and the rate at which he can pick those shells out of the rack in the turret, all around the outside of the turret. He just picks those shells up and slams them into the breach. And the moment the gun's fired, the breach pops open and ejects the shell. And so it's entirely, the fire rate's entirely down to the loader just shoveling those shells in. There is a deep store of ammunition which is down underneath the turret basket, or down in the deep part of the tank. And we can, of course, see that the engine at the back is sandwiched between 2 fuel tanks, and there's a transmission at the rear. The second replay is on the westbourne of Airfield, like in the previous video, but this time round Andromeda doesn't have his platoon mates with him, He's on his own. But there is Batman in the video. Yes, the MTLS 1G14 actually has the Batman skin. Okay, into action we go. It does have a very poor top speed, the Matilda 2. Maximum speed is only 24 kilometers an hour, but you can increase that with a turbo, of course, and make improvements. It does have the best armor for its tier, and the gun handling is pretty good as well. I think he's going to try and push forward and get shots on that M3. You see he's auto-aimed on. Not a good idea. You could get shots going to manually aim. I have the feeling he's going to go up on the central mount, which I call Temple Mount, because of course there is a temple up there. It's also got an amphitheatre up there. I suppose you could call it Theatre Mount as well, but you've got to call it something. Now the enemy is pushing actually. We've got a Panzer II Aslains G there, but he actually decided to go down the side of the mountain, and that 14 TP made a big mistake trying to cut across, because with that 2-pounder gun and that quick fire rate, the standard fire rate for the 2-pounder is 2.01 seconds, and you can see that Andromeda's got it down to 1.73. It's lethal, it really is. Pumps out the round so quickly. He's now taking that like this 38 to pieces, and there's another kill. That's his second. Now he's going to try and drive up here and get this Panzer III Aslains J. He's auto-aimed on. Again, I'd say not so much on the auto-aim. Try to do it manually, and he's got his third kill. Ah, he misses out on getting the looks. That kill goes to the Su-76. But there is an AMX-38 just to the south of this rock, and he might be able to get him from above. Be kind of embarrassing for the MX-38 because, of course, he cannot shoot up. He's got a limited elevation on his gun. And yeah, he's locked on, and he's just going to keep pummeling this guy until he's dead. And there you go, he's got his next kill. 4 kills now. So they've got a 3 difference. Game's definitely going their way, and it's all down to Andromeda. There's an M2 medium just to the east of it. This is a tier 4 game, by the way, with tier 4 and tier 3 tanks in it. Oh, takes out the T-28. And that's his 5th kill. One more, he gets the top gun. The M2 medium actually went down to the Hetzel on our team. There's a Marder over there. We might be able to get shots on him. Yep, there he is. Yep, there's 1, 2, go for the kill. Oh, just misses out because he gets into cover. Oh, he got him! He got him! And there's the top gun. Okay, now he's going to tear this Panzer V2 to pieces. Looks like he got a fire. Very difficult position he's trying to hold here on that corner, but now he can just pump in. And another kill. That's 7. The unfortunate thing is he can't get a Radley Waters because he's tier 4. I've had 10 kills in my Matilda before. You don't get a Pulse medal. And that's it. The game's over. They've done it. Here's the end of battle stats. And that was a first-class tanker for Andromeda in the Matilda on Airfield. Yeah, despite the fact that he got a huge amount of damage, he did not get an ace tanker on that one. He got a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 8. He got a high caliber because he dealt the most damage in that game overall, and he got a top gun for getting at least 6 kills. In fact, he ended up with 7, and he would have been able to get 8 kills, but for the fact, of course, there was no enemy left to kill. His win rate from that one was 9,017, which is super unicum and quite a bit more. Let's have a look at team score. Highest damage in this one was 1,560. Because he wasn't on the normal heavy tank alley, he wasn't able to get all the hit points off the ones in that direction. So he did get the highest damage. The Hetzer actually came in with the second highest damage of 1,037. And the third damage in that one went to the 14 TP on his own team, who got 770. When it came to kills, he definitely got the highest with that one with 7. The next highest being 2 kills for the Hetzer, the 14 TP, the Hetzer on the enemy team, and their Valentine AT. And there was only 3 players who managed to get kills on the enemy team at all, and they only got 5 kills altogether. When it came to base XP, he's got the highest on that one as well, so he's got the top in all 3 columns. 770 out of that one, 577 off the Hetzer, and 512 off the 14 TP. He fired 36 rounds, got 32 direct hits on the enemy, and 30 penetrations, so his shells were valuably placed on that one. 1,560 hit points of damage, of which 192 were at more than 300 meters. That was the long-range shots on the Marder. 4 hits received from the enemy, but none of them penetrated, and he did 202 hit points of damage blocked by armor. He spotted 1 enemy vehicle, damaged 9 of the enemy, killed 7, did 84 hit points of damage assistance. He earned 28,044 credits on a premium count, got 50,000 for completing a mission, 78,044 credits altogether, and after ammunition respawn this time round he didn't use the premium, which meant that he actually ended up with a massive profit of 76,604 credits on a tier 4 game. Very good score. He got 2 bombs out of that one, and 1,155 XP times 2 again for getting the first victory of the day, and 2,310 experience points altogether. He says default ammo, 7 kills, 2 medals. Yes, you can see that this thing, if you use the standard ammo, if you get a tier 4 game, there's not many tanks you can't penetrate. In fact, it's only really Matildas that you're going to have problems with if you come across one. And usually, if there's a Matilda on one side, there's going to be a Matilda on the enemy team as well. So you do have to watch out for that, because that may be the only enemy tank that you have to use premium ammo on, unless, of course, you can catch them out whilst they've got their back turned to you and shoot them in the engine bay area so they go down that way. But I'm sure that Andromeda enjoyed himself in that battle and the previous one, because, of course, he was just getting into the swing of things. It's one of those tanks which you can just blast away at the enemy, and just about anything you fire at, you can defeat, given enough shells and enough time. The only problem is, of course, your teammates tend to get in there and kill steal ahead of you, and they take the kills away instead. If you enjoyed this replay, or these pair of replays, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.